What's up, guys? It was a very beautiful day today. That snowstorm I told you guys about really didn't happen. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that it wouldn't have happened, but it just didn't pan out the way Georgia, expected it to. It was actually nothing but a bunch of rain. And by the second day, um, the ice, the water on the ground from the rain turned into ice. It was a real thin layer of ice, so it really wasn't that bad. But when I was coming home that morning, um, that morning after, it was it, you know I was thinking it was going to be ice all over the place, but it was just really ice on my car. And it was like a thin sheet of ice as well. So I was able to still open up my door, and I was able to, you know, unthaw the ice on my windshield. And like I said, this so-called snow day turned into just a regular day that was just very cold. So crazy thing is, I still have my leave for that day, for those 2 days. Today is the second day of my leave, so I get a chance to, you know, hang out with my YouTubers, my YouTube friends. I was been busy the whole weekend. I had a friend come over and we spent a lot of time together, watching movies and TV and stuff like that, eating, so it was pretty fun regardless. But I want to get down to business, and as I promised, a lot of my viewers who sent me all those emails about, different people that have disappeared or vanished, without a trace, all over the world since, in the last couple of years, or at least since the 1980s. I promised you guys that I was going to start looking into those cases, from the emails that I got, and I started doing it. The first one I've been looking at was about a young 3-year-old boy named Kevin Jay. It's either Ayotte or Ayotte or Ayotte. I'm not sure. I try to get the names right, but I'm only human, right? So, all right. Like I said, this little young boy was a Caucasian. He was a very cute little kid. Like I said, he was 3 years old, and let me show you his photo real quick. Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to blow it up a little bit, but it won't let me. Oh boy. Yeah, it won't let me. But here's his photo right here. If you can see it. There we go. That's his photo. There you go. That's him. Kevin Jay Ayotte. Ayotte or Ayotte. Like I said, I try to get the names right, So, but that's him. He was like 3 years old, and he's been missing for the past 30 years. This happened on September 30th, 1982. And he was a round-faced 3-year-old little boy named, of course, like I said before, Kevin Jay Ayotte or Ayotte. He was playing in the upstairs bedroom of his family's summer house in Sugar Bush, I guess that's Maine, I believe, or Minnesota. I think it's Minnesota. At 4:45 p.m. He was with his older brother at the time and his 6-month-old Springer Spaniel puppy named Flash. His mother went outside briefly, and when she returned, Kevin and the puppy named Flash were missing. Kevin's brother was found to still be inside the house. Kevin had always been known to wander away from home with his puppy Flash, but they would always return together after a very short time. Now, Kevin also had a habit of discarding his diaper and shoes right away. No diaper or shoes were ever recovered. He has not been seen or heard from since, and Flash has never been recovered either. Now, Kevin was 3 years old when he vanished. He would be at the age of 33 years old as of this year.
Um, he has blue eyes, and sandy blonde hair. He was 4 feet and 50 pounds. He has a cleft chin and a scar on his on the right side of his chin. I guess like right up in this area right here from what I saw in the photo. Um, he had a hearing impairment and limited speech skills at the time as at the time of his disappearance. He vanished from Beltrami County. Okay, now I want to go back a little bit about his ailment. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have read David Paulides' books, and of course, if from the ones that haven't, I'm pretty sure you probably heard him on Coast to Coast AM, speaking of these ailments that a lot of these people who mysteriously vanished have. A lot of them are either they either have Down syndrome or they probably have a leg problem. Uh, Most of the time, well, all of the time, the young children that are being taken, especially around the age of 2 or 3, they always have they don't have their speech together yet. They're still working on being able to talk. Now, this one, he also had an ailment as well, like most of the other people. Some of them, like I said, are they have a learning problem, or they're slow, or have some type of disability. He, of course, had a hearing problem, and these are the ones that are mainly taken 90% of the time because, okay, for his problem, okay, by him having a hearing problem, that means something can sneak up behind him and take him. He wouldn't even hear it. And then he can't scream or talk. Well, he can scream, but he can't talk very well. His speech isn't together yet. Now, in this case, even if it was something other than a human, something that was some type of entity, an invisible entity, it could still creep up on him, without him knowing. Even if it was some type of being from another dimension, it could sneak up on him or grab him from inside this portal that they may be coming from and pull him in. But that's just, an educated guess from one of my own theories, which has also been talked about, in other cases that David Paulides has had any type of affiliate with. Now, the countryside near the home was woodsy and boggy. Hundreds of volunteers and law enforcement searched woods and also swamps northeast of Bemidji, but found nothing. The search was called off 9 days later. Many feel due to countryside surroundings and the summer home that Kevin wandered away and died of exposure. Although there is no evidence confirming that. In 2011, there was activity found on the Social Security number of Kevin Ayotte, or Ayotte, trying to get that right, in Michigan. It was later found that it was a case of identity theft. An individual well known for identity theft in Michigan had been using Kevin's identity. Kevin's case is still open and active. Okay, now I want to show you a composite sketch. Well, not a composite sketch, but this is one of those genetic, like computer graphic genetic, it's the computer graphics that they did to show you what he would look like today if he was 33. And this is a computer generated version of how he would look today. Okay, so we have this photo here, and then you have this one. So if you look at that photo and look at this will show you how he would actually look at 33 years old if he was alive today. Now, I'm not saying that he isn't. I'm not saying that he is, but the way I see it, he could be alive. He could be alive in another dimension. He could be alive on another planet. He could be alive in a parallel universe. I mean, that is anybody's guess. And for me, the
type of person that I am when I'm, like I told you in my previous posts, that I am very well into the paranormal, the unknown, and all of the stuff about parallel Earths and all that other kind of craziness. Not saying that it is crazy, because all this stuff is real. We just don't have the proof to say that it's real, because it's not something that happens every day, or it's not something that we can activate on a daily basis or at will. We don't have that kind of power or that technology. We don't. The military does. Trust me, they really do. But anyway, now there are two main theories in this disappearance. The child became lost and died of exposure, or was abducted by a stranger. I wonder how sorry, I'm tongue tied right now. I wonder how the summer house was back then. It was not uncommon for parents to let their children wander outside in a big country yard. Doors were left unlocked and trust was much greater. It is a great possibility Kevin and the puppy Flash wandered away and weren't able to find their way back, especially if the summer home was not a familiar area to him. Since I assume he was used to of a different area. Used to of a different area they lived in for all the other seasons. Whether it was because they got lost, injured, or attacked by an animal, his disappearance could have been a complete accident. With the search going on for 9 days, it's likely something important could have been missed. In wet, swampy woods, looking for a 3-year-old child could be like looking for a needle in a haystack. One thing I feel is odd is that the spaniel puppy Flash was never recovered. Even if Kevin got lost, it is odd. It is odd no one found Flash, or that he did not return home. It was also odd that not a trace of him or his clothing was found. I think the fact that his diaper and shoes were never found is also a factor that contributes to the abduction theory, because if he wandered away long enough to get that lost, one can be sure he would have discarded his diaper and shoes immediately along the way, because this was a predictable habit. I think if Kevin was abducted, which is the theory I lean towards the most, he would have had to wander outside. I do not think an abduction would have taken place inside the house. Perhaps someone took him on a whim who was in the area, or maybe since he had a history of wandering away often outside, someone picked up on his pattern to wander by himself and planned out an abduction. Why an abduction would occur is also a mystery. This led me to look for other little boys around Kevin's age who were abducted from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota. I came up with 2 other young boys who vanished from Minnesota that was not a family-related disappearance. Okay, well, I'll get to those little boys at a later date, because I still want to go through some of the other cases that my viewers have sent me, namely Elizabeth Morgan. She sent me a lot of information on other people that vanished. Now, once I get through with all these and the one about Kendrick Johnson, I'm going to get back to the cases in the book and continue on with that. But now, see, this is also a familiar criteria and characteristic in a lot of the cases. Now, they said that they didn't find his diaper or his shoes. This happens a lot in cases like that where clothing is never found. And in his case, the clothing and the body was never found. So, if
whoever this person is that wrote this, they obviously are not very aware of the missing 411 cases, or if that, they stick to their theory of them being abducted or kidnapped by someone. And yeah, it's a possibility that somebody was actually monitoring his movements and his patterns to see if they'll have a chance to kidnap him. But for someone to sit there and wait to kidnap a child for any reason at all and not do anything with it, you just make them disappear and then you disappear along with the child. That makes no sense to me. I mean, because normally when a person is trying to abduct a child, they have a reason. They abduct it for some money, ransom, and then they want to kill the child at the last minute, just so they won't talk if they feel like they're not going to get the money. Okay, so that's my opinion on that because I've seen that happen 1,000 times. Like that guy that did the America's Most Wanted show, his son was abducted and he was decapitated. And I think they said they found his severed head in another state or something like that. I'm not sure, but that was a classic abduction case. I don't know if they ever caught the guy, but his head was lopped off. Now, all these cases here, that's never happened, so I know it can't be an abduction or a kidnapping case because he's never been recovered at all, him or the dog. And see, that's another characteristic in his case. Dogs are also found to be missing along with the child, but the dog normally comes back, and they look like they've been cleaned and they've been fed. So, I don't know. This case is just as weird as any other case dealing with a person that disappears, especially a young child. But the fact that, his diaper was never recovered or his shoes, let alone the dog, that's the first time I actually ever heard of a case dealing with a 2-year-old where their diaper was missing. Now, there was a case about a young baby that was kidnapped, and they found the baby in the water, like in the ocean, or I think in the ocean near the pier or the harbor. They said when they found the baby, they had a different type of diaper on. The parents said that the baby that they had didn't have that type of diaper on when they disappeared. Okay, so who or whatever had him changed the diaper, which makes no sense. Why would they even do that? I mean, I don't know. But in his case, like I said, the diaper or the child was never found. So like I said, it's been going on 30 years and they haven't found him yet. They called off the search 9 days after he vanished. So are they still on the case? Maybe. Are they looking at theories? Of course. But the theories are not sound because we're talking about a disappearance that happened inside the home. Now, it's a possibility that the young boy wandered off, obviously went downstairs and out the door, but you would think the brother would have seen him because he was the older brother. So, and they said they found him in another part of the house. So maybe there was some sort of mind control, or he told the young boy to leave the room and go in another room, or they placed him in another room and they took the young boy and left. But there was no sign of anyone ever even being in the house. Okay, so there was no footprints, there was no fingerprints, no nothing. Now I know they could have worn bags on their feet and gloves on their hands, so there would never be any fingerprints. But still, it just seems a little strange how a young boy could just vanish like that without a trace inside the home. Now the same thing happened to a young little boy. I'm trying to remember his name. He was the son of an exotic dancer who couldn't take care of him, and he was handed over to the grandparents. I can't think of his name right now. Let's see if I can still get it. I think it's something Sharon. His last name was Sharon, I believe. I think it's Bruce Sharon or something like that. But anyway, he was a young little boy. He was taken into custody. He was given to the grandparents. He was taken into their custody. And the grandfather accidentally rolled over his body. I think he was backing up in his truck, and he rolled over his body and rolled over his head. He didn't crush it, thank goodness, but he was taken away from the grandparents. They were too old to be raising a child. He probably had Alzheimer's disease and probably forgot he was even behind the truck or never saw him in the first place. Who knows? But he was taken away from the grandparents, and he was put into the care of his aunt, which I would imagine was his mother's sister. So it was him, the little boy, uh, and the aunt and her husband. They all lived in this house, and she made sure she was the type of person that would take care of a child. She had alarms put all over the house. She had locks on the doors and everything. She made sure everything that in that house was secure. The dog was playing. The little boy was playing with a little. I think it was a little German Shepherd dog, a little puppy. They had two actually. Um, he was playing with the dog. He was in the house, and he was on the floor playing with the dog. The aunt decides to go to sleep, and she takes like a 10, 15 minute nap. When she wakes up, the little boy and the dog was gone. Now the other dog, they had two dogs. The other dog I think was outside, but first the little boy was gone, and as well as the dog. And she's running throughout the house trying to find him. She couldn't find him. She looked at all the doors and all the windows and all the doors was locked, and the alarm was on the house. Now her husband called, and he was like, saying, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Just checking up on things." And she told him that he's gone. So he search ensues. They never find him. But a couple of days later, the dog comes back. Well, first, after the boy and the dog disappeared, the other dog disappeared as well. Now, I think either one of the dogs came back or both of them came back. I think the other dog came back days later. But the first dog came back, and he looked like he was cleaned and fed. So he was fine, but they still never found the little boy. I can't remember what year this happened, but he's never been found, so in cases like that, like I said, when children just vanish without a trace inside the home, the doors are locked and everything, whatever this is some type of entity that can walk through solid mass, and it can phase you through solid mass because you're already solid. So I don't know, that's my interpretation on abductions when it comes to aliens. It could be a number of things. Aliens are some sort of invisible entity that can walk through solid matter or solid mass. It can phase other objects through solid mass just so they can grab it. Just like how I said, they might be able to do the same thing with the human brain. Phase their hand through the brain and retrieve it from inside the skull without, harming the skull at all. You just phase it right through the solid mass of your cranium, which is a very far-fetched yet very doable thing, if you ask me, with all the other stuff that goes on with these cases. I'm just saying, that's just the way I think, in these cases. But, yeah, that's my time on that particular case. I will be posting more, and I will be basically reading up on a lot more cases dealing with the stuff that Elizabeth Morgan sent me, and I will get into the case of the Atlantean boy here in Georgia, Kendrick Johnson. And that's a very strange case too. Very strange. Nobody to this day still knows what happened to him. They just know they found him in the back of the bleachers, rolled up in a mat. So and, what happened to him is anybody's case as well. Now, would that be a part of the missing 411 cases? I don't know. I'd have to really get into it just to see if there's any similarities to a lot of the characteristics surrounding those cases. So I will get back at you guys very soon. I just want to say, hope you guys are having a happy new year. Hope things are going on very well with you guys. And I want to still thank each and every one of my viewers and my subscribers for looking at my videos and liking them. I really appreciate that. And I want to welcome another subscriber. That's 67 subscribers altogether. So that's one more person. I just want to say welcome to my channel. And I really do hope you like everything that you hear from what I talk about with these cases. So enjoy. And to all of my other people, KimStar66, Elizabeth, Dan DA, and everyone else as well, aloha, mahalo, and hui ho. Peace out, guys. Be safe and be blessed.